to take care of you. How did you get
I remember
this?
his ninth one. We were in Milwaukee, and I remember him being on the back of the bus, sitting right next to me and Derek Fisher. And you know how, sometimes after a game, your adrenaline is still running. He was just mumbling, "I'm better than Mike. I'm better than Mike." I was looking at him like, "You bugging." But, that's how competitive he was, because a lot of players, that was a race that they wouldn't want to run, even with a head start. And, from playing with them.
And then he gave me a hug. And as I watched him walk up the stairs, I began to wake up and I could smell his Old Spice.
I love that.
And I could feel him. And I was like, what just happened? What was that? So that's the dream that propelled me to study dream psychology. Because I wanted to know, why do we do it?
Right.
What is the purpose? What does it mean? And I was so impressed by how practical the dreaming mind actually is. As ethereal or otherworldly as it can seem, or bizarre, it's actually very, very.
Khloé Kardashian has never been a stranger to sharing her truth, but this time her words carried a weight that felt deeper, heavier, and impossible to ignore as she peeled back the layers of her past with a raw honesty that left fans stunned and reflective. Speaking openly about her marriage to Lamar Odom and the painful realization that love, when tangled with fear and hope, can sometimes become something far more complicated than it appears on the surface, revealing in an emotional confession that she believes she played a role in enabling the very addiction that ultimately tore their relationship apart. A statement that didn't come lightly but instead seemed to emerge from years of reflection, healing, and confronting uncomfortable truths that many would rather bury than face, as she described moments where her desire to protect him, to shield him from consequences, and to hold on to the version of him she fell in love with led her to make decisions that, in hindsight, may have prolonged his struggles rather than helping him overcome them, painting a picture of a love story that was as intense as it was fragile, where loyalty sometimes blurred into denial and devotion became intertwined with sacrifice in ways that slowly eroded her own well-being. And as she spoke, there was a sense that she wasn't seeking sympathy but rather understanding, offering a glimpse into the emotional toll of loving someone battling addiction, and the internal conflict that comes with trying to save someone who may not yet be ready to save themselves, her voice carrying the quiet strength of someone who has walked through heartbreak and emerged with clarity, even if that clarity came at a cost, as she admitted that she often stepped in to cover for him, to smooth over situations, and to maintain a sense of normalcy even when things were far from normal, driven by a belief that if she could just hold everything together long enough, things might eventually fall back into place. But instead, those efforts became part of a cycle that allowed the problem to continue unchecked, a realization that she now acknowledges with a mixture of regret and compassion for her past self, recognizing that she was acting love but also fear of losing him, fear of facing the reality of the situation, and fear of letting go of the life they had built together. And in sharing this, she opened up a broader conversation about the complexities of relationships affected by addiction, highlighting how easy it can be to slip into patterns of enabling without even realizing it, especially when emotions run high and the desire to help feels overwhelming. As she reflected on how her identity became intertwined with his struggles, how she felt responsible not only for his happiness but for his survival, a burden that no one should have to carry alone, and yet one that many find themselves holding in similar situations, her story resonating because it is not just about celebrity or headlines but about human connection and the difficult choices that come with it. And as she continued, there was a sense of release in her words, as if speaking these truths out loud was part of her ongoing healing process, a way of reclaiming her narrative and acknowledging both her strength and her vulnerability, emphasizing that growth often comes from confronting the parts of ourselves we wish we could change, and that forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is a crucial step in moving forward. She made it clear that while she cannot rewrite the past, she can learn from it, using her experience to set healthier boundaries and to approach relationships with a deeper understanding of what it means to truly support someone without losing oneself in the process. And perhaps most striking was her willingness to own her role without diminishing the responsibility of addiction itself, striking a delicate balance between accountability and empathy, reminding listeners that addiction is a complex and multifaceted issue that cannot be reduced to simple explanations or blame, and that those who love someone struggling with it often find themselves navigating a maze of emotions, decisions, and consequences that are as exhausting as they are heartbreaking. Her confession serving as both a cautionary tale and a message of hope, illustrating that even in the midst of pain, there is an opportunity for growth, awareness, and change. And as the conversation unfolded, it became clear that this was not just about looking back but about moving forward with intention, about breaking cycles and redefining what love looks like in a healthier, more sustainable way, leaving many to reflect on their own experiences and the ways in which love can sometimes lead us down paths we never intended to take. And ultimately, her story stands as a powerful reminder that acknowledging our mistakes does not make us weak but rather human, capable of learning, evolving, and finding strength in the very truths that once felt too difficult to face.
We asked for people to submit questions or stories that they have, things that they want advice on or guidance on, and man, did you guys deliver. We have tons. I'm going to read for the first time on camera with you guys, and I will do my best to give advice or to hear your unhinged, amazing story and comment. So thank you guys for submitting. I'm really excited because this is new and I'm excited to try something new with you guys. My best friend is dating someone I really don't like. I've tried many times to spend time with him, to get to know him, because obviously I love my friend. But there's such an unwillingness